Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Capital Talk, the video series generously sponsored by Dicor Corporation. I'm Rick Kessler of RVBusiness, and with me, as always, Sherman Goldenberg of RVBusiness. And joining us today is Mark Bretz RV and Marine in Montana, Michael Pay, Holiday World, Texas and New Mexico, Mike Regan, Crestview RV, also in Texas, and Brian Wilkins RV in New York State. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And I might add, in this case, all representing the Priority RV Group network. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Michael, maybe we'll ask this question with you to lead off, but have everybody weigh in, if you don't mind, on just the state of the RV environment from your perspective of your door.
I would say that the demand remains high. Inventories are slowly building, and it varies with product lines. But because there are still shortages in inventories, that creates urgency. So demand's high, there's urgency, and that helps with some margins. We are seeing some price increases, but business has been very good. You know, Mike Regan and I experienced some northern, I guess, Brian and Mark got together and sent a freeze down here. And both of us had to shut down for several days in February, which seemed to hurt us, but it's coming back now in March.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I would echo what Michael said, that certainly it was unusual for us to experience, you know, we were closed for almost a week during a very short month. So February was, 28 days less, 4 Sundays probably. And then you take 5 or 6 days out of that. It was a very tough month for the dealerships, service, parts, sales, retail sales, everything. I agree with Michael. Our inventories are building somewhat. Again, it is very brand specific. Some brands are pre-sold before they get here, and others are, we're seeing a little bit of inventory creep up, but nothing to be concerned about at all. Just the opposite. It's inventory is very tough. Traffic remains extremely strong, and consumers, are purchasing everything they can get their hands on right now.
Mark or Brian?
Yeah, I'll go next. I would echo the same thing. From a weather standpoint, we've had a better spring than probably normal. January weather was good. February was probably a typical February winter-wise, and then spring or March has been good. So certainly think that's helping us. And as other guys have said, business is good. Inventory has built over the winter, but I feel like it's almost, we're hitting that peak, and at the rate that we're selling now, it's probably going to be hard to maintain the inventory levels.
Mark?
I don't think anything much. Montana, we're seeing same kinds of things. Had a pretty decent winter because the weather was not as severe as it sometimes is. Inventories are, have come back some, and it's, it's very dependent on what the product is. Some of the stuff we're taking orders for certain products that people won't see for 2 camping seasons. Quite honestly, I can't imagine I wouldn't do that, but we've got customers that are doing that. So I think that this whole pandemic has changed how people look at life, and they decided that if I can't have it for 2 years, I better go ahead and order it today, because otherwise I won't have it for 3 or 4 years. So
we hear the stories. About the current surge in buyers, and I think what I'm hearing from you guys is, all these other things aside, inventory levels, etc., this surge is continuing. Is that your view?
I think that the surge, I'm not sure that I really see a huge surge. I think that there's some increase, but I think that the bigger factor is lack of availability of product. I think that when the whole world essentially shut down for 6 weeks to 6 months last year, everything got out of whack, and so the people that are out there buying realize it. And whether you're buying an RV or my wife tried to buy a new couch the other day, and they told her that it would be at least 8 months. So I think that the entire world is like this at the moment, and people have just decided that we better go ahead and order that couch, because we'll get it in 8 months. If we don't order it today, it'll be 12 months. So
go ahead, somebody else chip in there.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd call it a surge either. A surge to me would be a wave that comes in and disappears. We have seen since last May large increases of crowds, and I would have thought that would have fallen off. But we saw our traffic better in November and December than we would see in a normal April or May. So it's continuing right now too. It is double what we would normally see this time of year.
Today.
So I wish Mike would send some of that business over to me. He tends to.
That billboard I put up on I-10 has really helped.
Yeah, that's right. So although traffic has increased, I think we've seen a couple of different things. Last spring and summer, we saw a lot of first-time buyers come into the market, and our trade ratio dropped dramatically. We're starting to see that trade ratio build. So we have some of our regular RV people coming back in and trading this spring. But the other thing that we're seeing is people come in, and as Mark said, they're in the frame of mind with all the other things that have happened in their life. If we can get it, let's go ahead and get it. If we don't put our name on it now, we're not going to get it. So that closing ratio continues to be very strong and improved from typical springtime closing ratios, where people come in, they shop, and they go home, they think about it, and they come a week or 2 weeks or a month later, and then maybe buy. Now they come in and they see it, or they say, well, we don't have one, but I've got one coming in 30 days or 60 days. Okay, we'll take it, because they've already missed out on something else. So that urgency, I think we're all seeing that urgency.
Brian?
Yeah, I'd echo a lot of what everybody's saying, and probably most specifically what Mike Regan said about a surge would be a shorter term thing, and we're now, what are we going on, 9-10 months now, and January and February we thought was really strong, and then in March it started to pick up. So it just sometimes events like this, I think, expedite trends, and RVing was becoming more popular. RVing was resonating with millennials, and with the pandemic and people not wanting to get on airplanes and not wanting to travel outside their home, I think they're seeing RV as a way to take their home with them, and I think it's just expedited the trend, and I think, when this first started, you thought maybe this was a 1 to 2 year thing. And now you look at it, maybe it's a 3 to 5 year thing. Maybe it's a little longer than that. Maybe it's generational.
That's exactly where I was headed, the sustainability of this. You don't see this as a blip on the radar.
The longer it goes, I think the more optimistic you become that, maybe this is a lifestyle change for a generation.
That's kind of what the RVIA study leads us to conclude, this Ipsos study they just released. What do you other guys think about this?
I think as long as we take care of these consumers, we will have them for years to come. My fear is that if they get into this lifestyle and we don't take care of them in the parts and service area, or they can't find a place to camp, the campgrounds are full too. So if the lifestyle is something they enjoy, I believe we'll continue to have them for years to come, and even their children. However, if they, if we end up having it in our shop for too long, or they can't find a place to camp, those are some problems. Those are some speed bumps that we're going to have to address.
Michael, Mark?
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, see, I'm going to be the contrarian here. I guess that I just look at history, and I think that at some point we're going to return to normalcy with regard to kind of subcomponent supply issues that that basically all the manufacturers are dealing with. And the industry as a whole has always had an ability to ramp up pretty quickly. They have not during this period of time because of subcomponent issues. But I think that when that happens, when the industry ramps up, then shipments will be good. But I think that there probably will be a flooding of the marketplace, and and it seems like history would tell us that it's only a matter of time till these things change.
Till it flattens out, is that what you're saying?
Even if it doesn't flatten out, if it doesn't keep increasing at the rate it's increasing, manufacturers will overshoot production, and there will be excess supply before we're done with this.
Michael?
Well, I think they may both be correct, all three of them. Mike said something about taking care of these customers, and many of the customers that have gotten into the RV lifestyle in the last 10 months are not experienced, and they're buying bigger units first time, and they have pretty high demands. I'm concerned as these manufacturers are trying to keep dealers supplied that they're not being diligent in holding their standards high with the components that they use and their manufacturing process. We continue to see a lot of failures, and failures in all types of products, and that new customer isn't as tolerant of that as the customer was years ago. And I know that we are all watching, the repair event cycle time. We're all on board with that. And we're all using the excuse of we'd like to get it out, but because of COVID, those parts are not available right now. I know we've all had that. That seems to be getting better in some areas, but I believe it's going to be a challenge as our manufacturers are mix and matching components, if you will. Maybe that's not the right way to say it, but they're just, we can't get this, so let's use that. This is all we can get, so can build another box and put that component in it and let's sell it. Or, we can't get the components, let's just sell the box. Let the dealer worry about it. We have some of that out there. And so we still have a lot of struggles on the manufacturer dealer side to be able to provide the product that our consumers are really going to want, and that will continue to it will have them continue to stay in this RV life cycle or style.
What? Okay, so we're in the home stretch here. So this year, how do you see this year itself playing out? It's partly redundant with what we're talking about, but it's partly not. Any of you?
Okay, I'll just start and let them finish up. We had planned for only about a 10% increase if we could get product. It appears that we will have more than that if product continues to flow in. I see our manufacturers increasing production. We tend to struggle even more now than we did last summer with motorized products. As we saw the towables products go first last spring, and then motorized began to sell until we sold out of that. And it is more difficult for us to get replacements of motorized products and longer lead times. So that, I think we're going to suffer for another year and a half, 2 years in getting that product back to us, so we have product to show. But I expect that our business will be up more than the 10% that we had projected.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I think as long as we can, as the supply chain issues get fixed coming out of, I mean, I know there were some issues with the storms in Texas. I had no idea that so many parts were made in Texas for the RV industry. But as some of that works its way through the system, if they can get this product, I think we'll continue to have a very good summer. Trying to beat last year's numbers, I think are going to be really tough when you're trying to beat record-setting October, November, December. So the fourth quarter I see as we'll be out of inventory and trying to rebuild our inventory. I don't think we'll be able to hit the numbers retail that we were hitting last winter. Those numbers that was a wave. But I think this year is going to be strong as long as we can keep the inventory coming. And then hopefully we can build our inventory over the winter and then next spring do it again. Nobody's mentioned the RV shows, but I mean, there have been very few RV shows out there. And I think we're all very, our business is up over what normally we would have after a spring RV show.
Amazing. Mark, Brian. Hello.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to what they're saying. I mean, I would agree. We think this year's going to be strong. The obstacle is inventory. So the supply chain concerns are real. But as long as they can get us the product, we're going to be able to sell it.
Mark?
I don't think there's anything else to add there. As Brian just said, if we can get it, we can sell it. So.
Okay. Well, you know what? You guys, you're all straight shooters. You want a straight answer? Ask these guys. And that's the way I've always gotten to know you guys over the years. We appreciate the heck out of it. And Rick, sign us off.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next time.